be sure, Renee, which day it was. How helpful is that to the prosecution?
That's not helpful to the prosecution at all. I don't know why this witness is even on the stand for the prosecution. She can't remember anything. She thinks he was late on one particular day, but she doesn't know what day of the week it was. How can they pinpoint down to the day of the alleged murder that that's the particular day that he was late? She's not helping the prosecution at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And to top it off, on cross, she says, well, he looked like he had overslept. Now, I think that's kind of the opposite of the way a person would look if they had just committed murder. They would look amped up, like they'd had too much caffeine, they're highly excited usually,
right,
not groggy.
And rushing. He would look like he's rushing to get back, you know? And he doesn't look that way, according to her, on the day that she sees him coming in late. And then the other thing that strikes me is that if he came in close to the end of the period, the principal would have to know. They would have had a substitute. They would have had someone in the classroom.
Well, that's a good point, too. Now, let's talk about the passage of time. She's talking about an event back in 1990. She's testifying in 2003. You know, I made a snide remark. She was a high school student then. She's probably a grandmother by now at the time of trial. How much can we rely on a witness's memory that's 13 years old?
Memories fade. And I think it's very, very difficult to rely on something like that, especially an event that is so insignificant, you know, in high school. You're going to ask someone 13 years ago, do you remember your math teacher being late on any particular day?
Right.
And there's nothing else, you know, about that day that strikes you.
So you're a defense attorney. You've certainly handled your share of murder trials. If you have a 13-year time lag, how do you use that to your advantage when you're trying a case?
You just go over the fact that memories do fade. You ask other questions about incidents that may have been happening 13 years ago. Do you remember, you know, where you were sitting? What was going on? What time did you arrive in class? What were you wearing that day? Things to show that the memory has, in fact, faded and that you may not be absolutely correct in what you're saying.
That's a good question. Well, back in 1990, I'm trying to remember what I was doing, and yeah, that was some time ago. I think I'm going to have to think about that one over the break. You think about that, too. We will be back in just a moment with more testimony from that Georgia courtroom, but first, it's time to get caught up with all the latest legal news with Amanda Grove in the Court TV News Center.